but it's quite dark. We can have a look at the weeds here.
I make the connection between to sea and seaweeds, and I'm quite concerned at that point because do we see really good enough who they are?
Yeah, the kelp forest or seaweed forests who are down below the water, we don't see them.
No.
We don't see them visually, and it's like really something, not directly visible, and it's also not that attractive. And in Ireland, some people from the seaweed lobby, they told me directly, like, we have a problem with the linguistic signification of seaweed. A weed means a weed is an onkruid.
Yeah.
So actually it's a sea plant, and the whole perception and the accessibility of weed. A weed is a plant actually.
Yeah. Oh, that's funny. I'd never do that. What are you doing?
I just say hello to the seaweed as well.
That's nice. I always tell people, if you're with flowers, you should smell them, but if you meet seaweeds, you should touch them.
Yes.
Because seaweed doesn't have a voice.
No.
And the sea neither.
No.
So you need good listeners to translate that. And it seems to me that you're doing that in a way?
Yes,
or?
I try to do this as well. Like to include that kind of voice that, of course, our voice is so dominant.
Yeah.
And maybe we should shut down a little bit more as a human and listen also a little bit more to this non-human voices. Or like in Connemara, there was a very old harvester, and he was like, we should take care of the ocean because the ocean takes care of us. And it's a very beautiful Connemara spell that he had.
There's not enough sun yet, but with a little bit of sun you can see if there's still a little sun. You can see if there's still a little bit of red seeds. They're a bit sandy, yeah?
They are too sandy.
And very. I'm Ellen. We stand at the shores of Holland, which is the place where we collect seaweeds for our cooks, and also we collect seaweeds together with people who are interested in doing a workshop and excursion, which is a really nice thing to do because our heart of our small company lies within making people aware of the seaweeds and what they might mean in our society and in the problems we have. So it's a really nice thing to show people around here at the coast. Our company is called Wildwier, and it means wild weeds, and that's because we harvest weeds in the wild, because for us that's the most sustainable way, very small scale, and we can choose the weeds. We can at any time we can consider which are the weeds we can harvest now. So that's the way we do it. Yeah.
I don't know.
No, it's not in there.
But yeah, me, I don't know neither how much you can think of these.
Well, we don't know because we are not told by our grandparents how to walk around here and how to harvest. So what we always do is we take off one plant, we take 1/3.
Yeah.
And so of this plant we take 1/3, and of 1/3 we take 1/3. And we come quite often in these areas and we see that they regenerate, but the fucus regenerate really, really slowly.
Yeah.
So, well, that's the way we do it. You recognize this one, these red fellas?
Yes. Yeah.
Now, in Dutch, they've got a really funny name because they're called, how do I translate that? They're called slimy dragon's tongue.
I didn't know this. The Dutch names or I don't know.
No, but I think it's quite it's like a name from a fairy tale. Slimy dragon's tongue.
And what do you cook with it? Or you make like a base for soups?
I put, because it's a really a weed from the summertime. When there are a lot of tomatoes, I make really nice fresh tomato soup. And just before I take it off the fire, I put a lot of devil's tongue in it.
Uh-huh.
And because there's a lot of binding agents in this seaweed, if you
mix it,
you get a creamy soup, which is really nice. Okay. But it's also, you can chop it and put it in fresh dishes as well. As with all, because in Holland they say seaweeds, you can't eat seaweeds, they're not nice to eat.
Yeah, but that's
the lab,
that's the perception
food lab.
The perception of a lot of places.
Yeah.
We also harvest for the cooks, and they can order the seaweeds they need weekly. And so with the orders, we go down at sea and we cut their seaweed. We've got about 12 kinds of seaweeds, but that's, of course, it's year-round. So the winter seaweeds differ from the summer seaweeds. And we also got some good chefs. So now and then we started picking things which are quite new, and we bring it to them and they say, okay, let's get me more of that. So it's quite a dynamic way for cooks to cook with.
La Mer du Nord, it's the sea along the Finistère. So you have small islands. It's in front of Brest, and it was the first national marine park in France.
Yeah.
And they have the biggest champ, the biggest fields, seaweed fields. I met the mayor of that place, of the small island, and he was like, "Yeah, but we don't eat seaweed. We don't, même le mouton, even the sheep, they don't eat seaweed here." Then I met other people on the island, and they were like, "Yeah, but we have a tradition, and like the petit gourmand." As a young kid, we just collected all the rest pieces of the seaweed. And our mothers, they were cooking and boiling it with the milk, and so we made a pudding out of it. This flan gourmand that I was telling. I'm Filip van Dingenen. I live in Brussels, and I'm a visual artist who prefer actually to be on the shore instead of in a studio space somewhere. And one of my main projects is like to create a platform for algae diplomacy to include seaweed rights and seaweed spirits as well. So from different perspectives to see and to include seaweed voices as well. I did a lot of projects in tropical forests and Central Africa, and when I went with people to the forest, I saw the magic of forests as well. People entering the forest. We have scallop forests or seaweed forests as well, and so this kind of relation with the ocean is for me an important issue. There are no regulations on a European level, and that's where cowboys see a free market, and that free market is like they see a source or a resource, and we shift our problems on land, we shift them to the ocean.
In that part, we feel a bit alone in the seaweed business here, because they're all so busy with making seaweed big, making it the answer for our solutions, and it got into the economic cycle, and it shouldn't be there only. In Holland, I hear that often. Seaweeds don't need fresh water, they don't need fertilizers, and they don't need pesticides. Hooray! Let's get started. But all these three are from the crops on the land. If we start growing seaweed on a very big scale, we're gonna use fertilizers because the nutrient uptake will be far too big. So, yeah. Stand still and really think very well what our input is and our output in the seaweed world. Do some more scientific research in what we're actually doing at sea. 12,000 years ago we started farming the land, and now we're going to farm the sea. Oh, we should think very well if we're going to make a good start. Basically, that's it.
The work is very much inspired by Isabella Abbott, and she was the first marine biologist, Hawaiian native marine biologist, also being professor on university in California. It's a quote from Giovanna Di Cirio, learning from her mother and aunties about how to identify, collect and cook native Hawaiian seaweed from Maui's intertidal zone. Abbott grew up loving local species such as Limu kala, Sargassum echinacarpum. Lima kala, Abbott would explain, is probably the most important seaweed in Hawaii. People eat it, turtles eat it, and kala means to forgive. It is used in purification ceremonies like Ho'oponopono, the Hawaiian reconciliation process. And so what interests me on her work is that she really, from a native perspective, learned really about a lot of species and plants on the tidal zone, but that she also learned this whole scientific classification system, the Linnaeus system, which is used in our Western context, and that she could merge these two worlds and explain and to understand this in a kind of connection, which we sometimes also forget. I did it for another project in Greece on a small island with a distillery who was creating etheric oils. Yeah. And he went to harvest or to cut seeds, Greek sage, salvia. Yeah. And he makes the oils with it. So he learned us, if you cut something, you have to cut with intentions. So you put intentions in the plant. So for him, it was very important, like, okay, we're gonna harvest. It was in a valley, very dry, and the old plants of salvia there. And so together we did a meditation, and we put like an intention in that plant. And he say, like, you create with your scissors really this connection as well. And for him, it was like, okay, we put this intention in the plant because the batch that he make in this distillery after of the etheric oil would be much more powerful if you harvest with intention than that you just harvest like n'importe quoi.
Yeah.
Donc, this was very interesting to learn from me, and so I always wanted to have that discussion as well with seaweed harvesters, because it is something
they will say,
but it is kind of big scale harvesting, because everybody uses it each morning in their toothpaste or in the cosmetic industry or in the food industry. But how do we deal with it? How do we have that connection with it?
The magic. You get the magic as soon as you stand on the beach and go into the water and just watch them. And if someone tells you who these seaweeds are, then this magic comes over you, because and then if you hear what it can do for you, I mean, they're quite some plants, they are. But in the first place, seaweeds are a very primitive species that has been around for a long time, and they've got a really important role in our oceans, and we tend to forget that part because that's the most important part. So but they're magical.